Okay, folks, in this video, I thought, actually, I'm in the process of doing this. We're, depending on when you're watching this, we're heading into the holidays in the US, heading up to Christmas and then ultimately New Year. This traditionally is a dead time for sales, but I'm gonna show you very directly and transparently how I queue up and take full advantage of this time frame during the holidays to jumpstart my new year, fill the pipeline, fully schedule out for the moment that we kind of get back in January. I think this year, timing wise, it's like around the 6th of January, to make sure that that pipeline is fully flushed out, all scheduled. So I'm going to take you through all the steps that I do during this process. We'll do some magical editing to make this a little bit tighter, but I'm literally going to show you how I go through this process every single year, all the tools I use, all the processes that I use. I've already kind of sketched it out in my notebook as to how I'm going to do this sales jumpstart. So I'm going to take you through step by step. As far as what I use, as far as tools and whatnot, you're going to see me using Close. So close.com. Be links in the description. This is what I use as my CRM system. It's great for B2B and actually B2C. I've used this for many years on the B2B side in fueling, and this is kind of what you're going to see, how I fuel the agency with ongoing sales and leads and those sorts of things. So you're going to see that application of Close. But I've also owned and don't anymore, ultimately closed that business down, but I owned a mortgage. I was a mortgage lender, and I used it on the B2C side, supporting multiple teams. So this can also be used for B2C. So I'm in love with Close. It continues to get better. And again, I'll show you how I'm going to use it here. I have another video that shows how I actually set up Close. You're going to see some of the ways that mine's already set up, because I'm literally taking you into my sales pipeline to kind of see what I'm doing here and to also validate that we're doing something very intentional and exactly the way that I do it. Okay, so let's get to work. So like I said, sales jumpstart looks like this. I'm basically going to, and I'm a big believer in this, 3 email sequences. I think it's kind of the perfect number when you're running a sequence against a particular segment in your CRM or your database. I'm going to then queue up all of my active pipeline leads. And so you're going to see what that looks like. So for me, and again, I'm going to take you in and show you all this, but for me, that's people that have either scheduled appointments and we may not have got a good enough commitment to go forward. I never go forward with a proposal unless I get a commitment on that call. So if there's some lingering objections, then I will leave it in that stage and I'll do some additional work to kind of try to push that forward into the, deeper into the pipeline. And then the other piece that I'm going to do is those where I have put them into the prepare a proposal phase. So these are people who have given a commitment but may not have acted on that commitment, or there's some more work to do. So again, we'll take you into those. The strategy here is during this time, I'm actually, myself personally, I'm going to be overseas during this time for an extended Christmas break. So I'm not really going to be available, but I schedule this intentionally because generally during this time frame, people don't schedule sales meetings and calls. And even if they do, and I'm already experiencing this week, people have a tendency to ghost them, right? And it's not anything, I don't get offended by ghosting. I think it's just a natural behavior. It's like, I've got to sit on this call with a salesperson. It's this time of year, I'm winding down. They just blow you off, right? So it's not terribly productive to schedule meetings in this cycle anyway. So I'm going to kind of show you how I'm going to use this strategy to create this fear of missing out, this sense of scarcity, or that I'm going to use in this time period, because I don't want to book meetings anyway, to kind of charge them up and to get them to take action now to schedule for the first of the year so that they're ready to go, right? And this is a natural thing. Again, this is not disparaging. This isn't like some tricky psychology or anything. It's just kind of the natural behaviors. And I'm a big fan. I love understanding and thinking about human behavior. It's just, I know what the mindset is right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and leverage that in my sales. And I'm also going to do, ideally, something valuable for my prospects, because I'm going to get them ready to go like first thing January. When they're ready to re-engage, we're already booked out and ready to go to support them. And then, of course, my ultimate goal is to fill that funnel day one of 2025. So what does that mean? So I want to book out my calendar, and I want to be ready to go with these. I want to have created some urgency in these contacts, such that we're ready to go. Then I've got another, you can kind of see it here. I use a great service actually called Outbounder, and I'll link that in the description too. These folks are just incredible. They are my outbound strategy. So that's something that I've never been terribly good at, but there's a lot of opportunity in that outbound. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to kind of support that effort. And what they're doing for me is they're doing outbound outreach. So they're going out to my LinkedIn audience, which is substantial. And they're also using that in conjunction with more traditional email outreach. And so I'm going to try to kind of supercharge that audience as well. So I've already had conversations with their assistants, right, through LinkedIn with all of these people. I possibly also emailed them. And so they're a different segment, and I'm going to approach them just slightly different, but I'm going to use the same strategy again to kind of cue them up. So that's the basic strategy. You can see, if you've watched any of my videos, I love analog. This is just where my brain thinks first. And so I've outlined that in my notebook, and I'm ready to go build it inside of Close. All right, so first thing I need to do is I need to create some emails. So I'm gonna go into my settings, and I'm gonna go into emails, templates. Okay, so I've already got a bunch of templates in here, and I could probably build a workflow, which happens here. You can see I already got some workflows. Age leads, this is kind of the way I approach working with age leads. You'll also see kind of a theme here. Most of these have 2 or 3 emails. I don't do like infinite emails. I just think that's rude. And you can kind of see here, you can see my stats here as to like how productive these emails are. So generally they're pretty productive ultimately. And this goal met is generally a reply, right? So this is my reply rate on these. Ghosted, you can see this is pretty interesting. Usually after a ghosting, a couple days later, about 30% of these will come back and reschedule, right? So just a little side note there, we can kind of wander into these. So I'm gonna create a new workflow in here. And this workflow is going to be 2025 Jumpstart. And I may, sometimes I'll rename this and reuse it, but let's just go do this one from fresh. Okay, so I'm gonna manually trigger this. So we're gonna leave this here. We don't want it to kind of just light off before I'm ready to do it. But you can manually do these. You can even automate these. And so potentially I might do something like that as well. The only thing about automating this, which I wish Close would fix this, and I think there's some technical constraint because we've had some conversations, or I have with some of the folks over there before, but ideally most of my triggering sequences trigger off of where I have them positioned in the opportunity statuses, because that's the way I run my pipeline, right? So those statuses represent that sale moving forward. And usually when I want to communicate or I want to change the communication, it's in alignment with those statuses. And I'll give you, let's flip over here and do a quick peek at that. So for me, these are all the outbound outreach statuses you can see here. These are inbound leads. So these are ones coming off the website that are coming in here. And then this is, today, we're gonna work on, of course, this segment. And we're gonna also work on this segment here, the meeting schedule and the prepared proposal. And then these we'll just kind of leave Nice thing is you can kind of see significant amount of wins here. I'm a one-man band, so hopefully this will be interesting to you, because I know a lot of you are kind of a one-man band. So it shows you can do, I do $1 million plus a year in new revenue. This is definitely possible. So, all right, Jumpstart 2025. Okay, so we got the manual. We're going to add a step. This is going to be an email. I'm not going to add a delay here because I want this to trigger today. And then I'm going to have to think about it, right? Because I don't want these. This is a little bit challenging. I wish I could kind of block some dates off here, or just inherently know that we don't, load in some holidays or something like that. But we don't necessarily, at least I'm not aware of that in close. So I'm going to have to be very careful about the timing of these so that I don't hit in the holidays. Because again, all of my prospects are all US based. And so they're, in one form or fashion, they're probably, not working during those holidays. So I want to be mindful of that. That's can be really offensive. All right, so you can go through here and we can do templates. I am going to, let's just create one from scratch for this. So this template, so I want to create this sense of FOMO. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create, okay. So this is that's just for me, right? So, and this is the tactic I'm going to use. I'm going to basically say, hey, we're closing down, like we're not onboarding any new clients this year, but we want to make sure you're ready to go for 2025. So I would love to schedule, a time with you sometime after January the 6th, right? So let's do, I like to use a name. So we're going to go and we're going to do the contact first name. So I'm going to use this, but this is an exception to the rule. So generally I don't use questions, because questions, this is like an old email tip that I heard long ago, and I've always believed in it and I've seen it kind of work. Generally this won't perform as well, because if you ask a question that they can possibly say no to, they may never open it, right? But I think in this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and use an exception. And then just, again, because of the time of the year and those sorts of things. And it's okay if I don't get, again, these are all leads that I've touched before. It's okay if I don't get like a crazy, response rate. Obviously, I would love a great response rate, and I think this one's going to do pretty well. But anyway, I'm going to go through every little aspect so you can know. I'm going to try to articulate exactly what I'm thinking, so you guys can kind of hear the nitty gritty of how I go through this. Okay, so we're going to then use our, this is the only personalization I normally do is the contact first name, because everything else gets weird after that, right? It's like either the email sounds weird, or it comes in poorly or wrong, or we don't have the information. So, okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write a rough draft here. It's like, okay, so, and I think about the person, say, hey, Bill, is And then, the spelling there. Okay. And then, so I like to keep this short and sweet. So here, this is the scarcity, right? And now the FOMO. I'd like to give things away. Give you first access to my account. Start January 6th. Okay, and then I'm just going to put the calendar link in here. It's the calendar link. That's a good little, if you're using a Mac or probably some other, because you're using that link over and over again. I use that. You saw that little shortcut there. So that's a text expander shortcut. So that's a good little hack to make this, because you're always looking for that link and you have to go and find it and cut and paste it. So it's a quick little hack. Let me give you first access to my calendar starting. We can talk about anything from strategy, 2025 strategy, to getting, All right, and then we're gonna put this in here. Good use of the text expander. Again, you're always giving out your presentation or sales collateral. Make sure you kind of have an easy way to grab that. Okay, so this is all I'm going to do. Unsubscribe link. Sure, we'll leave that in there. I think that's always a good practice. Like, give them a clean, easy way to get out of there. Obviously, if you hit stop or respond or whatever. Nice thing about close is whenever you get a response, they kind of expect you to take over the conversation, which I'm a big believer in. And it also keeps you from like accidentally giving them another email that doesn't, because automation doesn't act like you understood that they, responded, or you're not paying attention, right? Okay, so there's the first one. Let's do one more thing. So this is a good practice too. So because this will probably get better. So I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. You can see I use it all the time. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and I am creating and I like to talk to ChatGPT just like it's an assistant, right? Especially because I've used it enough, it does have some contextual understanding of who I am and what I do and what I prefer and that sort of thing. So at this point, I can talk to it in a very sort of colloquial way. I'm creating an email sequence to jumpstart my 2025 sales pipeline. These folks are all people. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. All right, so it revised my subject line. Kind of like that. I like that. All right, I'm going to use that just... Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to do this perfectly. So let's start to do, and I probably should have done this to begin with because I'm always using ChatGPT alongside of every task that I'm doing anymore. There's just no reason not. I mean, that's I mean, just look at that. It's always important to start with a draft so that it gets exactly what you want, but this is a lot better. Like, you just can't deny this is a stronger email. So we're going to do that. I'm just going to take it as it is. Make sure you get your variables right. So, because sometimes it can butcher those. All right, and let's clean up some formatting. Okay, and then just so you know, my signature block is always put in here, right? So I don't need to add that, but make sure that you do a signature block. Like, that's super important. I also usually reformat these because sometimes these get a little mangled when you do some copying and pasting. So I'm a big believer in that and ChatGPT does a nice job of this, is making the copy, like the display of it, just as beautiful as the words, right? So, all right, so this is struggling here. All right, so I don't want any like weirdo spaces and stuff like that. Okay, so this is unsubscribe. We're gonna put that back in there. Make your best year, done onboarding. You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just so I don't get it lost. Jumpstart 2025. Okay. All right. And I've got to schedule a discovery session. Let's make sure that that's right. Okay, but we're going to do this as another step too. We also want to make sure that that our calendar is open, right? And you can see the 6 is not really, and this is also a strategy. So you can see here that these 3 days are when I do sales calls. This creates, again, some artificial scarcity, right? So when they look at these, you know, it'll look like there's limited availability, right? And you can see I've also got some other things blocked off, so there's only so many things. So that's important too. There's a lot of psychology, obviously you know this, in sales. Okay, so then I also need, okay, so here's an interesting thing that it did. And I think this is probably better. I like to sometimes put in the sales presentation, but it can be scary sometimes, so I'm gonna leave that out, and it just kind of open-ended. I'm sort of bad about this, not leaving sort of things open-ended enough, because I've got my product, it's niched down, I know it works. Sometimes I get I go too early to being prescriptive, right? So this is good. ChatGPT has opened me up a little bit and created some room for the customer to feel like, okay, so, all right, so there's the first one. Okay, so let's go down, let's finish this little step up. We're spending probably too much time on this, but there'll be some editing magic in here to slim this down. Okay, so this said, okay, sent on the 18th. So now let's go back to my, so this is going to be sent on the 18th. So today is the 13th. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically 5 days. Because even if it gets a little off, that's okay. So we're going to give it 5 days. Okay, and then we are going to do a new template. And this is going to be Jumpstart 2025, number 2. All right, follow up. Okay, and we're going to go here. Again, it's going to keep that scarcity sort of thing going, which I like. You know what? And I was going to do these sequences separate with the Outbounder, but I think I'm just going to do both segments the same. Again, this is another sort of lesson in personalization. Like, sometimes you don't have to get overly personalized. It's going to feel, when it hits their inbox, it's going to feel personal, right? You don't have to get you don't have to write out, and sometimes we waste a ton of time writing out a specific email to each individual. And you would think that's like ideal, but it's kind of the 80-20 rule. Like that extra 20% of effort is probably not going to yield any differently than what's here. So I probably got that 80-20 rule wrong, but the point is, you're going to put so much extra effort in there, and you're probably not going to move that response rate or that successful outcome that much. So it's better to just kind of go general, but make it feel relevant and appropriate, in this case, to the season. And we've already had some conversations. So, all right, so let's finish this up. So again, don't overdo personalization. Okay, so this is good to go. All right, so we're gonna do 5 days and boom, done. Okay, and then we're gonna add our third step. Now you can see in here, this is what I love about Close. You can do a whole bunch of other things in here. You can schedule a call reminder. You can do SMS. I haven't had this hooked up, so primarily B2B. I don't see this as much of a factor, but I think that's gonna change over time. I see a lot more text messaging in the B2B sales world. B2C, it's already there. It's the primary channel of communication. So if this was B2C, I would hook up, do my 10 DLC, hook up my SMS, and that all of these would probably be text messages, right? I would, an email would be a secondary part of the sequence, right? In this case, B2B, email still is the king, right? So, all right, let's add another email in here. And we are going to, this is going to be on the 27th. So again, let's go back to my calendar. So that one went on the 18th, and we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and this one we got to be careful, right? So 9, it's okay if it slides into the weekend, right? So 9 good days. It'll keep us out of Christmas, and we're heading into this kind of next week. Okay, so 9 days. It also gives us a nice time in between. I don't like to hammer. Like I don't like these 2-3 days and that sort of thing, especially for something like this. Let's give it a little room to breathe here. Okay, so Jumpstart 2025. Number 3. Okay. All right, let's go down here and grab it. So and I will probably, I'm going to launch this today, and we'll see how it goes, but I will probably get several bookings today because of, kind of the number. And it's not a crazy pipeline. There's probably this will probably go out to, this is important too, this will probably go out to 40 or 50 people. It's not crazy, but I'll probably get a significant number of bookings. And if I do, I'll go back and do a little video of the booked out calendar and kind of show you the results as well. So again, if I get some early results, I'll do a short session there so you can kind of see everything I did and kind of the immediate results, because and then I'm going to try to get this published so you can kind of take action on it. So I want to get this out to you hopefully by next week so you can take action. You can see, even though we're going to go through this in real time, we'll shorten it up, but this doesn't really take a lot of time, right? And again, you're seeing all of this in real time, right? So this isn't crazy, right? Your biggest challenge is you probably don't have a CRM. And if you don't have a CRM, go get Close, throw some people in there and do this as your first action. But you have to have a CRM. If you want to grow wealthy in sales, you have to have the best Rolodex. So get one CRM, love it, grow with it. You don't have to switch to every new one. I guarantee you, if you make a good initial selection of your CRM, it will grow with you. It will, whatever fancy things are in the market, they want to be competitive too. They're going to bring it to you, right? So don't willy-nilly switch, because you kill your database every time. So, and again, I've done some videos on this, but I like to reinforce that. Don't keep switching databases. Live it, grow it, commit to it, be loyal to it, work with the support people, give them some ideas or whatever, but know that they have your best interest because they want to be competitive in this market. So just let them grow with you and you grow with them. Okay, so that's all good. All right, so we're going to save that one. Okay, so we are good. Beautiful. This is good. All right, so we are going to save this. All right, so we now have in here I'm going to shut this down for a moment. And so we can make this a little bigger so you can see what we're doing here. Okay, so we now have our workflow in here, 3 emails. It's plenty, don't need to do any more than that. And now we are going to create our groups. Okay, so we're going to add a filter. So we're going to use my opportunities. Current status is any of. So I'm going to include, I was going to do a separate one here, but I don't really think we need to. Well, you know what? I'm going to. And this will be good because I'll show you kind of another sequence. So we're going to do another sequence here and I'll show you how I'm going to kind of tweak that a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and launch this one out. So meeting schedule, prepared proposal. So that gives me, again, this is, you see exactly. So this is going to give me 26 opportunities to kind of go back out after these folks that I've had a conversation with. And I may go deeper. I may go into because this is such a good sequence, I think, I'm actually going to go into my age leads as well. So I'm going to show you that in a second. Okay, so that's going to be good. We're going to launch this. So I'm going to have a lot of emails sort of working for me. Like I'm going to literally be overseas in Germany and my database is going to be working for me. And I can guarantee you starting January 6th, my calendar will be fully booked out. And so this is how easy it can be. I'm not going to do a lick of work, by the way, right? I'll probably have my cell phone and I'll probably, maybe do some incremental answers, like if somebody does something, because I really think that's important, right? If somebody asks me a question and they respond to me, I want to pick that up and I want to do that in a personal way. So I'll do some of that, but I'm not doing any work, right? So it shows you how easy that is. Okay. All right, so that's that. And then I want to enroll in a workflow. I think this is important too. So many people like blast out email. I think this is horrible. Just get them in a workflow, right? Get that sequence going. It feels natural. Close does a nice job of dripping it out, so you have good deliverability and all that sort of thing. It's using your own email. So, okay, we're gonna enroll them in a workflow. And we're gonna do Jumpstart. For each lead, only the first contact. I'm gonna just do the first contact. No reason to go crazy here. So some of these leads will actually, the way this organized, this organization will have multiple people in there because I like to sort of multi-thread and get multiple people in there. But I think for here, I don't want to go, because there could also be multiple emails for folks. And so I don't want, these potentially to get a couple of these. Okay, so let's preview it, see if it works. All right, in 2 hours, it's going to start launching. 5 days later, 9 days later, and we're going to start the workflow. Okay, so I am going to also go, so I've already got a list here. So this is 735 leads. These are all aged. Okay, I think this is okay. I'm not going to light this one off just yet because it's a lot of emails. So I want those first priority ones to go out. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go back in here to my workflows and I'm going to create a new workflow for those outbound leads. So this is going to be Jumpstart 2025 Outbounder. And I want to let's see if it would change anything here. So let's do this. So let's let ChatGPT do it, right? Let's not burn my brain cells here. So I have another list of outbound. This sequence, if at all. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. I bet it does tweak it a little bit. Okay, do this. I like this, but I want to keep. I really liked what they did. Well, what ChatGPT did with the, we're finished booking, right? So I like these, but I want to keep the concept. Scarcity. Okay. All right, let's modify this. Okay, so we're going to edit this a little bit. So I don't love all of this, but this is pretty darn good. So let's go back here, and let's. Okay, so we are going to. We don't want to edit the template, so we're going to get rid of this new template. Okay, so this is going to be Jumpstart. Okay, the part I did not love about this, I wanted to personally follow up because I'm interested. Okay. But I'm opening up my calendar to I'm giving early access to my January calendar to select. All right. So that's good enough. Again, we don't need to overwork any of this because the other reason I don't, 80% is kind of good enough is because you don't have to overwork these messages either, because the brain and these prospects are really good at filling in and shaping the message based on their perspective. So they're going to read this based on their current perspective, their objectives, their goals. So they're going to read this in their own context. So sometimes overworking this narrows it down so much that it doesn't leave it open for them to kind of make it their own, right, when they read it. And so I do like, and ChatGPT has done a pretty good job of this, kind of keeping it sort of open-ended so that the person can read it in the context of their own situation, right? And then that in and of itself will feel like greater personalization, right? So, okay, so there's that one. Okay, and we are not going to give it a delay. Then we're going to step from here, add a step, another email, and then I think this was 5 days. This is kind of nice too because, okay, so yep, 5 days, 5 days. Okay, so this is good. I like the subject line too because there's 5 days that'll go by, and if they hit that calendar link and then they come back to it, they will see it filling up. Like they will see slots because again, I know this is going to work. I've done it before, and so as a result, when they come back, they're going to know that and this is really important when you make these kind of claims, that it's real, right? That it's really going to happen. And I guarantee you, if you do this, your schedule's going to fill up too. There's just no way for this not to work. Again, assuming that you have a halfway decent list, or at least you've done your work and targeting it properly. Got the right ICPs in here. My case, we've definitely got them dial in, and again, we've got some other videos on how to kind of dial that ICP in. But assuming that you've done that at least reasonably well, unquestionably this will work, right? This is going to fill up your schedule. Okay, so that's beautiful. Bump. Okay, what's the next one? Okay, 5 days, we're done there. Okay, add step, email. And this is going to be 9 days. We're going to do a new template. Jumpstart. Start 2025. Defaults. All right, we are good to go. Save. Done. Okay. And then we're going to save. Okay, so Outbounder leads. Let's get that. Let's go ahead and get that assigned. So we're going to go to our leads. Going to add a filter. Opportunities. Current status. Outreach leads. It's 36 of those. Done. So again, like 50 or so, but this is literally working like 50 plus leads, and then I'm gonna have those other 700 probably start tomorrow. But like, it's crazy. I'm working 50 leads and I'm not going to lift a finger for the next, 4 weeks? So it's super important to learn how to use these systems. Preview. Right. Okay, here we go. The interesting thing here too, like, is if there's some crossover, like where, again, this is why it's good to have these little open-ended and like similar, is even if there's some crossover here where maybe they've scheduled a call before, or I've talked to them, and like the context of the email still seems relevant and like I'm paying attention, right? And I wrote it. So that's important too, is like, read your email in the context that I made a mistake, right? And sometimes you'll already make a mistake. Like maybe they'll say, oh, I already scheduled with you. And you just say, oh, sorry. And like sometimes I even acknowledge like hey, my AI got, ahead of me or something like that, or my automation got ahead of me. And people are good with that, right? They're fine with that, right? So if it makes a little mistake, don't just leave it hang there, acknowledge it and go forward. Okay, so now let's do our last piece here. And then I think we have done everything. I'm going to get my age leads in here. So let's do that. Let's get my age lead group in here. And okay, let's do this. Like again, I'm making this like probably I'm violating my own rule of like not over personalizing. Do another. See, do another, but it's so easy, like why not personalize it a little bit, like or be more specific. Do another sequence for my aged leads segment people. All right, so here we go. Okay, this is beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna go back here. Okay, so I am going to get into my workflows again. Where'd those go? Here we go, new workflow. So this is gonna be Jumpstart 2025. Aged leads. All right, so we're gonna trigger add step email. Okay, we are going to add a delay. We're gonna add 1 day because we're gonna start them today, but we're gonna give it a day. Jumpstart 2025. So by this point, like when I activate this one at the end of this little part here, I will be working my full database with the exception of things that are in the proposal and sort of closing phase. So this is an example of how you want to think about sequences that will work your full database, right? So I'm literally going to essentially close down. This is what I do my strategy and my planning for the next year during this kind of 3 or 4 week cycle. And during this time, I'm not going to do any sales, but guess what? Sales is going to be working because my database, I'm going to be working almost 800 different opportunities without actively doing sales or taking sales calls. And again, the most important thing I can do as a salesperson is book my calendar, right? And do those sales calls. I want to use ChatGPT, AI, and my system and my automation to do all of the work of getting those meetings booked, right? It does me no good to spend hours writing emails or making outbound phone calls. I haven't made an outbound phone call or a phone sales call in a decade, right? And again, I do $1 million plus a year in new revenue. No exaggeration, right? So, and you saw my stats there. And so when you were looking through my pipeline, if you were paying attention. So the point is, like, you need to just focus on those conversations, like that. Your whole day needs to be about conversations, not this. And in between, this is what my Mondays and Fridays are. I want to be in here, like figuring out how to build a new system to make sure that my database is being worked at all times, right? Or I'm doing content. Mondays and Fridays, big content to build the audience. So when these things go out, like when these emails go out, all of these people, all 800 plus of them, know who Bill Rice is and know who Kaleido is, right? Because I have an audience, I'm doing content, like they've seen me out on the internet, they've seen me on LinkedIn, they've seen me on YouTube, right? So none of these are cold. Even the ones that are cold outreach are not cold, right? And so that's a big, important piece. So I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, let's make sure I'm paying attention to what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're gonna save that one and done. All right, we'll build 2 more. And again, you can see like how relatively easy and simple this is. So that's the 14th, and then that is going to be the 19th. Yep, 5 days later. Okay, so that's similar, new template. All right, Jumpstart. Start 2025. You can see I'm not really paying quite as much attention actually to these age leads, because these are, you know, again, use the 80-20, spend your time, right? These, I don't need to spend as much time. These are old, these are aged. These are like the response rate to this will be much lower than the other 2 categories. So this doesn't have to be perfect. This just needs to get a touch into their inbox, and then if they're in a position to have a different perspective on Kaleido and lead buying, then so be it, and they'll re-engage. Like this is more than sufficient to get them to re-engage. So don't, again, overthink this segment. You're just trying to get them, again, to see this email from their perspective and potentially re-engage based on their particular scenario and situation. Okay, and then the last one is email, and that's going to be 9 days later as well. Again, some of these are going to land on the weekend, and that's totally okay. Like I think that's fine. I don't want to land on holidays, but I don't care about landing on weekends. I think that's totally fine. Salespeople work on weekends all the time, right? I'm always paying attention. I'm always doing email. If somebody replies to me on the weekend, I'm going to reply back to them, right? It's not really that hard. And that's the other thing. Like again, those incremental like responses and that's where personalization kicks in. Like being responsive, being immediate, because you're not doing all this other crap. Like you have time to just like look down at your phone, maybe you're eating dinner, maybe you're watching TV. It's like, oh, somebody emails you back. Personalize it like instantly. Like those are the things that make an impact. And because you're not doing all this other crap, you have the energy and you have the time to do those more kind of personal touches that make people go like, wow, he's paying attention to his email. Oh, he must have really written this because I just emailed him and he emailed me right back. That's change your mindset. That's the way you need to be running sales, not spending all day dialing for dollars. I'm telling you, that day is done, especially for B2B, even for B2C, honestly. Like, I know a lot of people do it and I sell a lot of leads to people that do that, but it's really honestly not necessary. If I was running a mortgage company today, I would close down my call center. I would do nothing but texting and things like this, running segments against this. I can get more than enough business and conversion and contact rate out of running my B2C, just like you're looking here. And I would do this if I was B2C and I had mortgage leads and people hadn't made decisions on purchases, pre-approvals, refinancing, and everything. I would send these 3 emails, right? Obviously in the context of mortgage and loan programs and stuff like that. But like, this is the same thing I would do. Create some scarcity, create some FOMO, and get them ready for January, right? They're not going to do anything now anyway. Like, let them breathe. Let them know you're a human, right? I'm checking out for the next 4 weeks, right? There's some value to that as well, versus like pounding on them and it's like, yeah, I'm so desperate, I'm going to take your call on Christmas Eve or Christmas. No, you're not, right? You have an exclusive offer. You have some expertise. You're a professional, right? So create this sense of scarcity and give yourself this breathing downtime. Like I said, during this time, I'm thinking about strategy and my new year and planning and enjoying my family. And like I said, going overseas, doing the Christmas markets. That's what I'm doing, in case you're interested. Going to Berlin, going to do the Christmas markets. And so that's like, people want to work with people who have that type of expertise, professionalism, exclusivity, right? All right, so this one is ready to launch. Age leads. Okay, so then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do the same thing. Go to my leads, add a filter, get my opportunities. Oh, this one's going to be a little different, right? Because age leads, I'm not going to go through this and rebuild the filter. I already have a filter for these guys because this is a smart view. This is really nice. So people come in and out of here based on this filter that I've already built, and it's pretty significant. You can see I only want to go after mortgage leads, right? I've got 3 other segments, but I'm not going to take you through that, or 2 other segments, legal and so you can see I've kind of done some important filtering here. So I'm not going to take you through that. I just wanted to show you one of the verticals that I'm working. Okay, so, and I use this over and over again. You can see some of these smart views. I love smart views because as things qualify, they come in and out, right? So this is a dynamic view. All right, so I'm going to enroll in workflow. All 735 of those, and I'm going to do my age leads. It's going to give me a day. Okay. That's kind of interesting. I don't think I'll run into a problem. Okay, I think I'm going to be all right here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to preview this. And if it errors out, that's okay. If we hit some sending limits, that's fine. That's why I offset it by a day. I don't want it to impact my other ones, right? So this is running a day later, out of sequence, and so it should be okay. And again, I can watch it, right? I can peek in on here and make sure everything's running well. Okay, there we go. I am fully working my database, and we're good to go, right? I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna enjoy my holiday, and I'm going to be able to focus my mind on some other things, some more strategic things, and I'm gonna let sales and booking my schedule work. I hope that you're going to have an incredible holiday. I hope that you take action on some of this and you do your version of this. If you need a CRM, get Close. There's a link in the description. And if I didn't have this set up, I would dump whatever leads I have from whatever system or my contacts from my emails. I would dump this in here and I would do this equivalent thing for those and just consider those aged leads. So what I did here for aged leads, again, do your equivalent message, leverage ChatGPT, have it do a 3 email aged lead sequence, and I would start using close, right? And then from there, get that scheduling link. Oh, it's the last thing I want to show you. Scheduling link. So the other thing that I want to do here is I want to make sure that my scheduling link is working properly. So let me go in here to today. And where is, wrong calendar. Okay, so I wondered where so this is, so I've used, the other thing that again, all of this other than close it's free, right? ChatGPT is not free, you got to charge for that too. But I use Google Meet, it's free. It's as good or better than Zoom. I run a transcript on that, does everything Zoom will do, it's free. Do that, right? So if you're using the Google Suite, use that. Also, do the booking page here. Like, you don't need to pay for Calendly and all that kind of stuff. I would really encourage this. Okay, so the one thing I want to do here is I want to make sure that, whoops, wrong one. Doggone it. I'm trying to wind this up too quick. All right, so let me go back a day because I don't schedule any discovery calls. Fridays, so okay, discovery call. Okay, so let me make sure that I have the correct opening. So you can see how I create sort of artificial scarcity here, right? I only do 3 days a week, Mondays and Fridays. I'm doing strategic stuff, but let's go into January 6th. You can see I also want to make sure these are blocked off, right? So I'm out of town here. This is all blocked off, so they can't get in. They can't sneak into the calendar and schedule. There's no open slots there. First and second, out of office, so there's no blocks there. Okay, and then when we get into, the 6th. Okay, so I want to make sure, I got some good open blocks there. So make sure that your blockings are open. You can see, then again, this is another sort of tip, right? Sort of an insider's tip. Create artificial scarcity. Don't take your whole day to be booked by sales calls. Reduce the window, right? Like, you don't want to make it too so they can't find anything, and you want to make sure that they can find something quickly. If they can't immediately schedule something, this is a little bit different during the holidays, but normally if somebody comes in as a lead and you offer your scheduling link and there's no appointment for tomorrow, you will probably lose that, right? So we want to create some scarcity, but we don't want to create too much scarcity. So you need to peek in there and make sure there's always an open slot for the next 24 hours. But at the same time, don't book yourself out, right? Give your time in the morning to kind of do all your cleanup and your little administrative stuff, and then the afternoon, wind down, tie some things up, make sure that you got all your follow-ups gone out and stuff like that. So create some artificial scarcity, but also create some space in the day, in the week, so that you can do the more strategic things you need to do as sales. All right, that is it. All right, hopefully that will give you just an awesome way to give yourself a little space during the holiday, but at the same time, if you do this will probably be the most productive 2 or 3 weeks during the holidays. This will be the most productive 2 or 3 weeks of probably your whole year. So do this, even if it's aged leads. Light up close, dump those aged leads in there, build that 3 email sequence. I can guarantee you that you will book out your schedule starting first thing in January, and your 2025 is going to like rocket off to an incredible start. So encourage you to do it. If you've enjoyed this, I do a lot of videos like this, so I would love for you to like and subscribe this one, and I'll see you, I was going to say next year, but it's going to be some other videos, because again, I'm a big believer in systems. Things are happening behind the scenes during this 3 to 4 weeks. I'll be checked out, but I will be still effectively working and doing sales and business development. That's the way you need to run your life. It will give you the margin and the fun that will keep you healthy, wealthy, and wise. All right. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.